بعد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ إِنِّي أَرَى سَبْعَ بَقَرَاتٍ سِمَانٍ يَأْكُلُهُنَّ سَبْعٌ عِجَافٌ وَسَبْعَ سُنبُلَاتٍ خُضْرٍ وَأُخْرَى يَابِسَاتٍ يَا أَيُّهَا الْمَلَأُ أَفْتُونِي فِي رُؤْيَايَ إِن كُنتُمْ لِلرُّؤْيَا تَعْبُرُونَ. Then the king said that I saw 7 lean cows eating the 7 fat ones, and 7 green spikes and 7 dry ones. O my courtiers, O my viziers, explain to me about my dream, the interpretation, if you know the dream interpretation. So they said, قالوا أضغاث أحلام وما نحن بتأويل الأحلام بعالمين. They said, this is just a mixed, confused dream, and there's no sense to it. And we're not learned in the interpretation of such dreams. أضغاث, they use the word أضغاث, the singular is ضغث, which means that the bundle of chaff, some husk separated from grain while threshing, and this collection of different kinds of waste material. So this is what they say. This is confused ideas. Your mind saw whatever during the day is just being mixed up at night time, and you're just reviewing that reel again in your dream. So there's no sense to it. Don't worry about that. So muddled, confused, and it's a mixture of many thoughts and things. Since they didn't know, this wasn't a regular dream. That's why they just accepted their inability to interpret it. Now, again, one important point about this is that if you're a required question, you would go to the appropriate people, number one. And likewise, if you have ever been questioned about something which you do not know, you should say, Allahu wa Rasuluhu a'lam. I don't know. Say I don't know is knowledge itself. At least you know that you do not know. But they didn't even know that they didn't know. So it was so low in their knowledge, and yet they were quite quick to respond to the question by the king. All unanimously said that, no, it's just completely crazy something. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. There's no cause of concern. But in that gathering, there was the man who was saved, who was freed. وَقَالَ الَّذِي نَجَا مِنْهُمَا, from those 2 men, the prisoners. وَادَّكَرَ بَعْدَ أُمَّةٍ أَنَا أُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِتَأْوِيلِهِ فَأَرْسِلُونَ. The one who was freed from among them, the one who was the butler, or the one who was there to brew wine for the king. So he said, and he now remembered after some time, that I will inform you of its interpretation. Send me, and I will find out the answer to this. Now, it happened after a few years of him being freed, after Yusuf alayhi salam interpreted the dream for him. So he came straight to the man, to Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, and without any introduction, without any apologies or anything, he just straight went on to his question. Yusuf, ayyuha siddiq, Yusuf, a man of truth, أفتنا في 7 بقرات سمان يأكلهن 7 عجاف و7 سنبلات خضر وأخرى يابسات لعلي أرجع إلى الناس لعلهم يعلمون. Explain to me about 7 fat cows being eaten by the 7 lean cows, and 7 green spikes of grain and other dry, that I may return to the people. Perhaps they will know about you, or about this dream. So he said, Yusuf, ayyuha siddiq. Siddiq is the one who accepts immediately without questioning. Someone who would live for truth. He would take truth whenever it is presented to him without any questioning. He would not shy away from the truth. This is As-Siddiq. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq was given this title when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned about the night of ascension, the Mi'raj, Isra and Mi'raj. And Abu Jahl was very happy that I'm going to ask Abu Bakr Siddiq about this. He has been to Al-Quds, the Palestine. It would take a month journey. So how could Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam claim to be there overnight? Not just that. After that, he went all the way to 7 heavens, and here he's back in the middle of the night. So when he came to Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq, and he asked, "Oh Abu Bakr, would you say that? What would you say about the man who said that I've been to Palestine overnight?" He said, "Not possible. It takes a month to go there and a month to come back." And then he said, "Okay, but before I take your point, could I ask you who is the person who said it?" So he put that caveat there. He put that as an exception. He said, "It's your friend." The Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Yes." Then I accepted it. "How come? You just said it's not possible." He said, "Yes, because I believe that to him an angel come all the way from 7 heavens within a split second, pass on the message, and goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the big deal if he said that he's been up there?" So for me, it's completely acceptable. I accepted even that because he is the truthful one. He is a sadiq. And Abu Jahl got completely shocked by his reasoning. And when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam heard this, he said, "You are as-Siddiq. You accept truth wherever it is and whenever it is presented to you." So this dream was presented, and Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam was already given this special knowledge of interpretation of the dreams, and he could figure out what is right and what is wrong from there. He could completely, understand what it meant, what the dream meant, and he explained it all to them. And the beauty of the Yusuf alayhi salam is that he explained everything, and then also he found it beneficial and useful. He knew that the people would need to know how to overcome these 7 years of drought, which are going to be fallen upon them very soon, and how would they work out the stocks. So he gave them a very clear idea. The 7 years of good crops, which are the green and fat cows. So grain vegetation means 7 good years. And 7 fat cows are the cows which you can milk without any trouble, means you would have plenty of provisions. And it would be followed up by 7 years of lean cows. Like, there'll be nothing left. It would just devour all what you have already accumulated in the first 7 years. So he said to them that whatever you get in the first 7 years, don't waste it all. Only eat what is needed and keep all the rest. And don't separate them. The wheat should be kept within its covering, and don't separate it from there. And if you keep all those crop and budget it properly, so what you would have, that every year, you would have a lot saved, very little used up for food, some of that used up for growing in the first 7 years, and you keep holding that for the 7 years which are going to follow you after initial first 7 years. And this was the amazing exercise that they have actually listened to and practiced. So extra crop in the first 7 years, you keep them within the ears of the crop, so that they do not get affected by bacteria. They're not being ruined or wasted. So you literally save everything. And that was because of the experience people knew. Now, Yusuf alayhi salam is just so amazing in his behavior towards people, towards that special man, who he gave good news and requested him to inform the king about the situation and ask him about what's happening, why it's been prolonged, why there's been no court case sorted out. He didn't ask or rebuke him, why it took so long, now you've come back for another favor. He didn't even make him feel embarrassed at all. He didn't even made him realize his mistakes. He didn't even say, I've forgiven you. No, none of that. As though nothing happened. He went straight on to responding to the question he had. And he responded by saying, قال تزرعون 7 سنين دأب فما حصدتم فذروه في سنبله إلا قليلا مما تأكلون. Yusuf alayhi salam said, you will plant for 7 years consecutively, and what you harvest, leave it in spikes, except a little from which you will eat. The cows till the land that produce fruits and vegetables, which represent the green ears of corn in the dream. He next recommended what they should do during these fertile years. This was his sincerity. The harvest would stay healthy and it would stay longer. And he also guided them to not be extravagant. ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك 7 شداد يأكلن ما قدمتم لهن إلا قليلا مما تحسنون. And then will come after that 7 difficult years, that which will consume what you have advanced for them. So these 7 tough years, difficult years, would consume everything that you have had. Whatever you've saved, means the stuff that you have not wasted and saved for yourself, that would be enough for the next 7 years. But you keep some, even during those tough times, you have to keep some in the store, which you could then, because if you've eaten all of that, what would happen after 7 years? When the land is fertile again, when there's raining happening again, you should have some to cultivate for that year, for the next year. So all you need to do is to save in first 7 years enough that you would need for the next 7 years. But when you had that enough for the 7 years, you have to tighten your belt a bit further, live a very simple, frugal life, save some each year for the next year when there is enough raining. ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك عام فيه يغاث الناس وفيه يعصرون. Then will come after that a year in which the people will be given rain and in which they will press olives and grapes and other fruits that you can squeeze. So then you would be given plentiful. So you should have enough that you can plant in that year. So this is Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam's nice advice to them. So they got the interpretation which everyone in the court said that was just a confused dream. They got the solution, and that is why everyone started coming to Egypt in order to buy that, whatever they had extra. In fact, they had so much that they found it very useful, and they sold it all in the market, and they got plenty of money because it was quite extensive area drought, which most people had nothing. They heard about Yusuf al-Islam, and they used to come and get some, as you would see in the next passages of Quran, inshallah. So easy passage relatively to understand, that what it gave us is that you should be after helping and serving people without expecting anything in return. Yusuf al-Islam did his job without even hoping to get anything in return from people. And that's the way we should be behaving in our lives. Many a time we stop seeing people or break the relationship, even the family ties, because someone did not behave the way we expected him. And that is despite us being nice to them. So we have done a lot of favors, and they have just, stabbed us in the back. What they have done, they did not show respect. They did not accept our conditions. They did not show the gratitude towards us. They've been thankless. They've been like this. They've mistreated us. And all those favors that we want them to pay back in one way or the other have not been done. That is why they're bad people. So we shouldn't be seeing them. And we justify it, or we talk back. We actually do backbiting for those people in their absence. And people ask, why do you not see your brother, for example? Oh, because their family is just bad. We don't want to see them. They're not nice people. So we actually create slander and backbite them, and make a bad case for them in the society, just to justify our egos, to satisfy ourselves. We feel good about it. And this is how shaitan works and plays. So we need to understand that one of the earliest revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from Surah Muddathir was, وَلَا تَمْنُنْ تَسْتَكْثِرْ. Do not do any favors to people in order to get something better in reciprocation. Do not expect something more of them who you've done any favors to. So don't do any favors. Don't do good deeds with the idea that you would get something in return. So Yusuf al-Islam was literally doing all the favors without any expectation from them. And this is the way for ultimate tranquility. And there's a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the companion said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I want that Allah loves me. I wish that Allah loves me. What do I do so that Allah would love me? He said, refrain from dunya. Be renunciant. Be zahid. Izhad. So do not get connected to dunya. Allah would love you. So I want people to love me as well. So if you want that, then have no hope or expectation from people. If you do not have any expectation from people, people will start loving you. Don't expect anything. Don't ask for anything. Don't tell them off if they've not done something back to you. Don't call them and say, oh, you never remember me. You never visit us. You only remember me when you are in need. You only ask me anything whenever you need that. But in between, you don't even say hi to me. You can't even call me. But don't tell people. Don't make them feel embarrassed. This is not a prophetic way. This is not the way of pious people. This is not the way of a proper Muslim. Rather, we should be thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah has made us from among those who can offer something to others. We are having upper hand, and upper hand is better than the lower hand. The giving hand is better than the receiving hand. So Allah has put us in a position where we can offer something. We should be thanking them because they are the ones giving us this opportunity. through their questioning, their asking, we should thank Allah rather than say, oh, you've not remembered me for 20 years. Now all of a sudden when you need, you're calling me. And it's quite common, people do that. So don't do that at all. This is what we learn from the life of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. May Allah give us tawfiq.